Hey guys, I'll be going through the tone that I got for Islam's video on the Fortin Cali by DSP. And if you haven't watched the video, the link is in the description box below. Without further ado, here's how the mix sounds like. Okay, and let's look at how we got the tone. So this is the 14 Cali. I'm mainly using a tweaked version of the default settings. So in this case, I'm using a grind pedal instead of the hex drive. It came with the hex drive engaged by default. So since this is a thrash metal song, I kind of wanted to have a tighter tone, scratcher, kind of like scratcher guitar tone. And let me just play the guitar on its own, and I'll bypass the grind pedal to let you hear what it does. So it kind of cuts out the flubbiness and adds a lot of this mid grindy sound to it. It's very aggressive pedal. And next up we have the amplifier itself. Most of these settings are just tweaked, just slightly tweaked versions of the default preset of the, and it really sounds good out of the box. But yeah, just copy it if you want to. And the next section, which I would say is the most important part of any guitar tone, is your cabinet and mic selection. So let me just play the guitar tone with just an SM57. It will work on its own, but I would prefer it if there was something beefy to kind of like carry it, and that's why I added in a condenser microphone. And this is a tone that's a bit darker. And if I were to blend both of these microphones together, it kind of phase cancels the fizziness of it, and then it adds on some weight, so it sounds beefier. And the only post-processing that I did is an EQ here. It's fairly simple, only 4 moves, and let me just bypass and I'll show you what each of them is doing. I have a a high pass filter here at 65 Hz. So this kind of cuts out away the unwanted low end and kind of tightens it up a little more. Next, we have a dynamic EQ. So it's an EQ that reacts based on the signal coming in, and once it crosses a threshold, it kind of clamps down on it. If you don't have a dynamic EQ, you can actually use a multi-band compressor to do the same thing. And let's go to a palm muter section. As you can see, there's a giant peak during the 150 Hz during the palm mutes, and we can use a dynamic EQ or multi-band compressor to kind of clamp down on it. Next, a low pass filter. This kind of cuts out the extreme high end that you don't really need. It's basically just fizz at the top. Okay, and the next most important, I would say that the most important cut is this mid cut at 2.1 kHz. And what it does is it kind of makes space for the other elements of the mix to cut through better. So as you know, distorted guitars are generally just noise, and you kind of have to make space for the other elements to cut through. So here's without the cut engaged. And here's the cut engaged. So it kind of lets the snare pop out a little more, and if you have vocals, it will help the vocals sit in better as well. So yep, that's it. That's about it for the bass tone. And I'll just show you how I get a guitar tone from scratch now. So let me load up a default preset. As you can see, it loads up with hex drive. Okay, and this is how the DI sounds like. And with the default Cali settings. When I'm trying to find a tone, usually I will get a bass tone with the amplifier first before engaging the pedal. So yep, let's go about it. And compared to the original tone, it's that easy to get a tone with the Fortin Cali. And try not to overthink the processing, because the more cuts you do, from my own experience, the more like notching you do, the results usually get lousier. So you introduce more problems instead of solving them. And yep, that's about it for this guitar walkthrough. If you have anything you would like to learn more about audio, please leave a comment and like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.